this video, we'll discuss service department cost allocations. After watching this video, you should be able to explain why service costs are allocated and be able to allocate service costs. Service departments provide services to other departments. Examples of service departments would be information systems, human resources, and accounting. User departments use the functions of service departments. Our user departments could be other service departments, or they could be production or marketing departments that produce or market an organization's final products. We're going to consider the allocation of service department costs in the context of the Carlisle Coal Company. Carlisle Coal Company is a mid-sized mining company with many departments, but for simplicity, we're going to assume that it only has 4 departments. 2 service departments, information systems and administration, and 2 end-user departments, the Hilltop Mine and the Pacific Mine. Both end-user departments require information systems support for their automated systems, as well as support from admin for staff functions such as hiring, training, and payroll. The service departments support each other as well. This will be illustrated by the dashed lines on the next slide. We can see that the admin department provides support to information systems, and information systems provide support to admin. They also provide support to the end-user departments, and this is illustrated by the solid lines. We're going to consider 3 methods for allocating service department costs: the direct method, the step method, and the reciprocal method. The direct method charges costs of service departments to the end-user departments without making allocations among or between the service departments. So we only see solid lines going from the support departments or service departments to the end-user departments, the Hilltop Mine and the Pacific Mine. In the step method, we first make charges for the cost of service departments to other service departments, then to the end-user departments. In this example, we can see we charge the cost of administrative department to information systems as well as the end-user departments, the Hilltop and the Pacific Mine. Once we've allocated costs from the admin department into information systems, the information systems will have both direct and indirect costs, and we allocate those out to the end-user departments, the Hilltop and the Pacific Mine. Alternatively, we could have allocated costs first from information systems into the admin department and then to the end-user departments. Generally, we allocate costs from the department that provides most of its costs or most of its services to another department first. In the reciprocal method, we're going to allocate costs of service departments to other service departments as well as to the end-user departments. This is illustrated by the solid lines between the service departments and between the service departments and the end-user departments. In the reciprocal method, we recognize that all services provided by any service department, including services provided to other service departments, we account for cost flows among service departments provided services to each other. We will either need to use simultaneous equations and a little bit of algebra, or we can use Excel to solve our cost allocations using the reciprocal method. Let's take a look at using the direct method to allocate costs for the Carlisle Coal Company. Again, recall, the costs are only directly allocated to the end-user departments. There's no cost allocated between the service departments. We're given the following cost information: direct costs for the various departments, our 4 departments for the Carlisle Coal Company, and we're told that the cost of administration is going to be allocated on the basis of number of employees. In the information systems, we have 2,000 employees, the Hilltop Mine 5,000, and the Pacific Mine 3,000. Although in the direct method, we will only consider the employees of our end-user departments. Information systems costs will be allocated on the basis of computer hours used. Admin department uses 100,000 hours, the Hilltop Mine 20,000, and the Pacific Mine 80,000. Although in the direct method, we will only consider the hours used by the end operating departments. Let's go ahead and start working on our example. First thing we want to do is pick up our direct costs from each one of the support and service departments and the end user departments. Next, we're going to pick up the number of employees in the Hilltop Mine. We're told that's 5,000, and we had 3,000 employees in the Pacific Mine. Again, we're only considering the employees in the end user departments in the direct method. Computer hours, 20,000 computer hours used, were used by the Hilltop Mine, and 80,000 were used by the Pacific Mine, for a total of 100,000 hours by the end user departments. Next, we're going to calculate our allocation percentages. The Hilltop Mine employs 62.5%, 5,000 out of the 8,000 end user employees, and will be assigned 80 or 62.5% of the administration department's $5 million in direct cost. The other 37.5% will be assigned or charged to the Pacific Mine. Information Systems has $800,000 in cost, and 20% of that cost will be assigned to the Hilltop Mine, and 80% of that cost will be assigned to the Pacific Mine. Let's go ahead and begin with our cost allocations. Again, we have $800,000 in direct costs for Information Systems. We want to allocate that cost out. Actually, we're going to begin with our administrative department. We had $5 million in cost, and we're going to allocate it out, and we're allocating 62.5% of it to the Hilltop Mine. That's the $5 million multiplied by the 62.5%. We'll allocate 37.5% of the $5 million in cost to the Pacific Mine. We want to be sure our row sums to the zero. This ensures that we have allocated out all of the cost and we haven't allocated too much cost. Next, we'll allocate cost from Information Systems. The $800,000 in direct cost comes out of Information Systems, and 20% of it will be allocated to the Hilltop Mine, and 80% of the cost will be allocated to the Pacific Mine. Again, we want to make sure that the row sums to zero, and then we check to make sure our columns for our support departments or service departments also sum to zero. That ensures we've allocated out the entire $5 million and the entire $800,000. Finally, we sum up each column, and we want to make sure that the total cost we have after allocating costs equals the total cost we were provided or given in the problem.